Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my precious pack, and welcome back once more to World of Tanks. I have a very interesting match for all of you, and it's actually, unlike most of the other videos, a fairly high damage game. Now, it is a two-tier spread, and I am among the top tier. Tier 8 and Tier 7, so I've got a few people that I can kick that are below me. However, that isn't really what happens, because I realized first thing right off the bat, there's only 3 people sticking around the base to defend it. I never count artillery when I'm looking at who's defending the base, because the artillery is naturally going to be hanging around the base, especially on this map. And one thing I do, I hate this map with a purple passion, because it is just, more often than not, I'll wind up at the bottom tier on this map, and I will be seal clubbed to death. So I've actually taken to actually lingering around the bases on both the northern spawn and the southern spawn. And if my voice sounds a bit rough today, it's because I was sick yesterday. I'm still partially sick and my throat is recovering. And no, it wasn't coughing or anything like that. It was dehydration leading to nausea into quite a few horrible things. I won't really go into full detail, but I'm doing better now at the moment, so I'm feeling better, naturally. But back to the subject, one thing I do is I will always try and help defend this front from up here, especially if I can get into a heavy tank up here, a fast-moving heavy tank such as the Renegade. And I like looking at the tank, as you could probably tell. But aside from that, one thing I do is I keep an eye on who's where. There's only a Pantera P44 over here. Other than that, that's about it. There's no one else over here. And here they start to show up. We got a Tier 7 heavy. Okay, well, he's not much of a threat. I'm pretty sure I could drive to the other side of the hill and get ready to deal with the incoming group that's going to stomp the IS-2 out that's over there. But I linger around here because there's the Tier 8. There's always at least one Tier 8 that comes this way. Well, in this case, more of them come this way, just not as many right now. And the EBR in their team, I don't know exactly what they were thinking, but they tried to rush. I think that they thought it was only 2 tanks over here. The King Tiger, the captured King Tiger below me, and the Super Hellcat. But that isn't the case, as there's actually 4 of us. Myself, the Pantera, parked right beside me, and that's it. And I'm going to talk about the chat as well, because it got interesting, and as I said recently, I've been keeping the chat open to keep an eye on it. And there's DBR, and he's gone. But this match is looking worse and worse. And something you guys are going to see a little bit is every now and then the turret will start to turn just a little bit before I actually start to drive, to rotate the turret in the direction. Because I was suffering from a bit of lag while I was taking care of the game. And for some reason I had the server-bound cursor, or whatever it's called, enabled in the main game. I didn't even realize it. Even though I don't think it should affect how the turret behaves, like right there. And as you can see in chat, we've got the people saying 2 heavies, camping base, yada yada yada, lemming team. I've had enough of this map, and I really don't care what anyone else says, because I've had just about enough issues with this map that you can say whatever you want, and I've just... When I tend to hang around the base, I can have good games, and this is one of those that turns into a good game. Doesn't look good right now, right? Team's losing. And I'm not intervening because I'm not leaving the hill. Because every time I try to protect people, it goes wrong for me, because they're always in a position where there's nothing I can do to help them. And I got called a bot there, as you saw. And at the moment I'm waiting. Well, typing. Oh, how lovely. Happy that's always censored out. My response was, nope, I have little interest in fighting the locals. I want to force them to come to me because I want the advantage. And the chassis of the Renegade, there is one thing I don't like about it. It's the chassis. And whenever I can hide it, I try to, because its standard rounds can punch through the thickest part of the chassis with little issues. I mean, I've gone through the other Renegades on the opposing teams before extremely reliably, and I'm not even shooting at the cupola. I'm just aiming for the chassis whenever I see them, because it's just extremely easy to destroy. And I've become so used to fighting higher tier tanks at this point, the tier 10s, that I do whatever I can to hide my chassis and only show the cupola if I'm going to be wiggling around and preventing them from hitting it. Oh, and I still love the weapon handling, because I mean, that's just... There are a few heavy tanks I've played so far in the game, aside from the AE Phase 1 that's like that. And that one was on me for that bounce. I hadn't actually given enough lead when I pushed the button, and due to the internet lag, it actually threw it just a little bit below their tank, so it bounced off the lower glacis into the ground, so yeah. And I don't know what the KV-3 there was doing, but he was out there far enough, but I have a good quick reload, but not quick enough. And the lower's out in the open. 2 high rolls and a low, so the next one should be a low roll, because that's just how the game's played so far. More bounce. The IS-22 is gonna be an issue, because where he's at, and now it's 5 to 10. So they have twice the number that we do. How exactly are we gonna win this? Well, I'm gonna stay up on the hill for one. I'm not gonna be stupid, because I've done this enough times, and I would rush down to the hill below to try and fight, and I know where their artillery is at as well. And another thing, whenever I see certain tank destroyers, I try and destroy them quickly and sooner rather than later, because I've had enough issues with them sniping the cupola with premium rounds and stuff like that, so the armor is essentially irrelevant. So getting him out of the fight early was just a very important thing to do. Next up is the heavy tanks. Naturally, I want to be in a position where I can use gun depression, but move forwards and backwards to be able to shoot them, but remain in relative safe cover. And they are starting to rush, but most of them have lost enough health that it's 3 to 12 right now. There's still a significant difference in tanks, and I do not know what that UDES was doing, but that cost them that fight. Ain't looking so bad now, 9 to 12. Can we make it 10-12? This is why I want the high ground, because I wanted as many advantages as we could have against them. And again, I do not like the chassis of the Renegade, because it just feels extremely soft, but the weapon handling is godlike. And as for the rest of the tank, well... Oh, and as you can see, the light tank on the team, they asked, why is this working? Now I stopped to type again. And it's because we have all the cards. As the name of the video states, we do have all the cards. And when you actually take control of the situation, and I do the same thing against the higher tier tanks, you know, the tier 10s and 9s, I will do whatever I can to give them as little control of the situation as I can. So, in the case of going into a city map, I will literally avoid going into a city map, especially if there's higher tier heavy tanks. Even if there's softer heavy tank to me, they will most likely have better DPM and better weapon handling. But that's it. That was the entirety of the match, just me rambling on about the matchmaker, well, not the matchmaker, actually just the match in general. And the entire time in the background, you got to watch the damage slowly be racked up to a total of 4,810. Now, can I get the final kill? Oh. Don't ask me where that one went. And, I mean, the weapon handling is amazing by the time they control you. And that's it. Just like that, match is over. Happy hunting. Well, actually, be safe out there, my pack. Happy hunting, and as always, I'll see you later.